Hey, Riley J, 2A here. Okay, getting right into it, doing a bit of a roundup, 2A roundup, whatever you want to call it. Gonna keep it, try to keep it quick. Gonna go through a couple things real quick, rapid fire. Um, and then I'm gonna get into the main talking point, which is a good one. So, just getting right into it, as always. I did a video last week talking about the bipartisan Safer Communities Act of 2022. At that time, it had passed in the Senate. Right after that, it passed in the House. So then the following day was signed into law by the president. So that Bipartisan Safer Communities Act of 2022 is now law. Unfortunately, but we at that point when I made the last video, we pretty much knew that it was going to get through, and it did. So you can check out that other video that I did if you want to know more detail on that. And as did everybody do videos on that. So the information is out there regarding that. Of course, you could also read the bill if you wanted. Um, so going down the list, going to talk. Okay, so that's a national bill, but we're going to talk state specifically now for a minute. My home state, state of Washington, where I still live. Um, Today is July 1st. This is the enactment date of SB 5078, which is our standard capacity magazine ban here in Washington. So, unfortunately, as of today, you can no longer buy, sell, offer for sale, import large capacity magazines, as we know, standard capacity magazines. So that's unfortunate. But it doesn't stop there. This is also the enactment date of HB 1705, which is a ban on personally made firearms. Essentially, it's untraceable firearms, is what I think what they're saying. Um, so that's also unfortunate. You can no longer make firearms with no serial number. Before, you could make them, you just couldn't sell them, but you could make them for personal use, as you should be able to. That is no longer the case here in Washington State, unfortunately. Okay. Now, if those restrictions that came through this year aren't bad enough here in Washington, our Attorney General Ferguson is talking about, as he's tried before, he's hoping to next session get SB 5217 passed. They may change the name by then, but that's last session. That's what it was being called, which is a so called assault weapon ban here in the state of Washington. Now, there's a good chance this doesn't pass. Of course, this is just talks. This could easily still be defeated. Maybe it won't even make it. I wouldn't hold my breath there. So good chance this won't pass. But last year at this time, I would have said, no, no, there's no chance we here in Washington are going to get a magazine ban. And of course, we did. We now have that effective today. So, got to keep an eye on that if you live in the state of Washington. This state is really, really going down, taking that California route, right? In terms of heavy, unnecessary restrictions. This state is pretty much California 2.0, politically. So, we can really see that with these bills coming down recently. So, speaking of California, the next point is going to be this, or at the end of last week, couple days after the Supreme Court decision, which we'll get into next, the state of California leaked gun owners' personal information, okay? So basically, the information of those who requested a concealed carry permit in the state of California over the last 10 years, and that does not mean they got it. That simply means they put in for one, okay? So rather they were denied or they got it, all that personal information has been leaked by the state of California. If this isn't a good reason as to why we do not need a firearms registry and why we should not have one, of course, one of many good reasons, as we know, clearly does not secure information, right? So we gotta, we can't have that. It's unfortunate for those in California, and this really, really makes a lot of people in California vulnerable. Very bad situation there. And I really have nothing more to add on that. So now getting into the main situation here, I made a short when it happened. New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruen case in the Supreme Court has been decided, and Justice Thomas has decided with the Second Amendment. That case was challenging New York's May issue concealed carry situation, which is, obviously not good, not constitutional, and has been found unconstitutional, which is great. This case also opened the door for a lot of other stuff. Now, there's been a lot of stuff coming down after this decision. You got some states, they're falling in line, they're dropping their May issue stream, and other states are kind of, kicking and screaming, trying to fight. And they're trying to find, backdoor ways of essentially regulating carry and all that. So, as we pretty much expected. So, there's a lot coming down, is the point, after this decision. But what I'm going to talk about is a couple of, or a few cases that were, waiting, basically waiting for this Bruen decision to come down. The Supreme Court was waiting to decide these cases. So I'm going to talk about a couple of those. So basically, there's 4 cases here that were GVR'd, which is grant, vacate, and remanded. Okay, so what that means is basically the Supreme Court is saying they're looking at these cases, they're stripping the original lower court's ruling, they're stripping that, and they're saying they're sending it back to that lower court to basically say, hey, reconsider this now based on the Bruen decision. So that is what's happening with 4 cases, which are Bianchi v. Frosch, which is Maryland's assault weapon ban. Okay. That's being sent back down to the lower court. New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Association versus Brooke, which is New Jersey's magazine ban case. That's being sent back. And Duncan v. Bonta, which is California's magazine ban case. that's being sent back, and also Young v. Hawaii, which is in regards to Hawaii's basically lack of providing carry permits. So this is great to see. This is not. I wouldn't necessarily call this a win yet. We got a long ways to go. These certainly are not overturned. But in any case, a lot of good stuff coming down based on the Bruin decision. And, some not so good stuff too. Like I said, there's some states kicking and screaming, trying to find backdoor ways of getting around this. But that's going to be it for me. I just wanted to do a bit of a roundup, talk about some prominent stuff that's happening this week. Of course, I didn't hit everything. This has been a pretty heavy week for 2A related stuff. But I just wanted to hit on some, talking points that I felt were pretty important. And that's going to be it. So, goodbye.